All right, so welcome to the EEAI Vision 2020 virtual conference. My name is Mindy Murdoch. I am going to be the track host for the administrative track. So if you're joining in this one or in any of the future ones, you'll be seeing me. But this session is part of the administration track, and it is titled Free Online Tools to Increase Efficiency at Work. So we're hoping you're in the right place. We are recording these sessions, so if you have to jump off, can't watch the full thing, or if there's a session that you miss, hopefully you'll get an opportunity to then go back in and watch some of those sessions. I'm looking forward to seeing those. But I need to share that our sponsors for this conference, so a big thank you to NIPSCO, the Mary Lee Environmental Center of Goshen College, and NAAEE for sponsoring the conference. Just a reminder to everybody to put yourself, if you haven't, and I'll go back through if I need to, on mute. You can or cannot use your video. That's up to you. If you're having any kind of issues with Zoom, a lot of times if you turn your video off of yourself, that does help with your connection. So try that one before you log out. But if you log back in, I will let you back in as well. We are going to field our questions. You're welcome to add them in the chat through Whova or Zoom or however you're going to be doing this one. And then, we will go for about 45 minutes, and then we'll kind of make Sarah wrap it up if she hasn't, and give time for questions towards the end as well. So I am going to turn myself on mute and turn it over to Sarah. Go for it. Oh, wait, actually, I should introduce you, shouldn't I, Sarah? I'm sorry. I know her so well, I don't feel like I need to. No, so Sarah Wolf is the Senior Park Naturalist of Hendricks County Parks and Recreation. She is based at McLeod Nature Park. She's worked as an interpretive park ranger and an interpretive naturalist at 3 national parks and 2 state parks. She's a graduate from Purdue University with a BS and an MS in Natural Resources and Environmental Science, and she serves on the EEAI board with myself. So, all right, Miss Sarah, I'm going to let you take it away.
Hi, everybody. So glad you're here. I am going to talk a little bit about a few free online tools that I've used to increase my efficiency at work. And a few years ago, I was wanting some kind of presentation to attend as a participant at a conference, and it wasn't being offered. So I decided to offer it for you all today. So hopefully this is helpful for you. So in the chat window, can you type your name, your organization, the location you're joining from? I have some prompts on my slides throughout. And I think we're a small enough group, we may be able to talk with the microphones if you need or want to, unless we start having issues with our connectivity. So anyway, I just want to share a couple of tools that I've used. I'm going to highlight Sign Up Genius and Google Forms today. So, all right. Hey, Kristen, so glad you're here. All right, let's see here. Make sure I can. There we go. Okay, so for Sign Up Genius, I like using Sign Up Genius because it's a free registration method. You can use it for signing up volunteers for opportunities. You can also use it for signing lots of people up for an event. And I love that Sign Up Genius does not need a method or doesn't need a login or password for your participants. This is really nice because nobody wants additional accounts where you have to remember passwords. So for Sign Up Genius, you just need a free account through signupgenius.com, and you'll be able to get started with that. So as I share a couple of ways I use Sign Up Genius, if you want to type in the chat window, if you use Sign Up Genius as a participant or as an organizer, that will be helpful. So I started using Sign Up Genius after I became the volunteer coordinator for my parks department, and I was coordinating volunteers for our Maple Syrup Festival, which is a 2-day event. We have outside stations to show how maple syrup is made now, how it was made in the past, and how Native Americans discovered it. And so we have volunteers to help with all these different stations. And one year I ended up also coordinating the volunteers for a different organization with an event happening at the same time inside my nature center, which is the Pancake Breakfast fundraiser. And at that time, I was just using like an Excel spreadsheet to keep track of all of the volunteers. I had lots of people emailing back and forth saying, you know, hey, oh, I want to sign up for the 1 to 4 o'clock shift, but I don't have 1 to 4 o'clock shifts. I have shifts from 11:30 to 2:30, and so I had to email that back. And so it was a lot of back and forth email, and it was just really time consuming. I put in a ton of overtime that I did not get paid for. And some time after that, I discovered Sign Up Genius, and it has saved me so much time and frustration, and just makes it easier for my volunteers to sign up for activities and events. I like Sign Up Genius so much, I started using it for the food pantry where I volunteer in town. And the food pantry was using a paper and email sign up method for the volunteers. And I suggested that we should maybe use Sign Up Genius to increase participation and make it easy to share the link so more people could sign up and increase participation with our the food pantry. And it was really helpful. So I like it so much that I volunteered to set up that sign up for our food pantry. So, and it looks like I'm not able to see my chat window right now. So if there's any chats coming through, you'll have to tell me, Mindy. All right.
I can handle that.
Okay. So I want to show you what Sign Up Genius looks like as a participant and then as the organizer. So this is a current sign up. So if you're nearby, like Sam or other people, if you want to help out with our wreath workshop preparation, here is how you sign up. So you can easily share the link with your volunteer audience. You can include all the information so they can scroll through that, read all that. And then if they scroll down, then this is what they see. They can see the different shifts, the different days, the information they need. You are limited on the number of characters that you can put in a little description, but usually it's enough space to put the basic details in there. You can see as a participant how many more spots are available for those days and times. So you just click the sign up button, and then you have to click the submit and sign up button at the bottom. A couple of my volunteers have forgotten to click that last step. And that's really the only times they've really had any struggle using it. So once they click that last button, it will take them to this final sign up page. You type in your name and your email address. The organizer can require a phone number if they choose. You can also type in a comment in there. Sometimes people will write, I'm bringing, you know, my 10-year-old, and they may change the number of people who, the quantity there, or they might not, because maybe the 10-year-old's not going to be that helpful, but wants to be around anyway. You can sign in if you have an account, but you don't need an account either. If you have an account, it just saves your information and makes it easier to sign up. Now, unfortunately, the free version of Sign Up Genius does not let you block the ads anymore. So you will get ads on your sign up, and that's a little obnoxious, but at least you don't have to pay. So if that's the only minor inconvenience, I think that's okay, at least for me. Once you've signed up, you will get an email with the information in your email. And then if you forgot what you signed up for, you can click the view sign up. You can also click edit my sign up, and you can contact the organizer through that email. So say I forgot what I was going to sign up for the food pantry, or I want to change the day or time I'm signing up. So I can click that edit my sign up, and then it will take me back to the sign up page. I can review that information again if I need to. And then down there, kind of in the middle of that screen, you can also change your sign up there. So say I want to change my sign up, I'll click that link, and then it will take me to this page here. And here are ways that you can go in and make a change to your sign up. So say I signed in without an account. So I'll click that box there, that button, and there are 3 different ways you can change your sign up, which I think is really nice. And I've had some of my volunteers just contact me and ask me to change it, and that's fine. I can do that easily. Or you can also send yourself an email link to change your sign up item. I don't know if this is new, and I'm not sure if my volunteers have used this before, but I think it's a really handy way for people to be able to change that thing that they signed up for without having an account. So you can do that. And so here are just some participant benefits that I've seen and for using Sign Up Genius. So there's no login needed, which is really nice. With only a couple of clicks, you can sign up for some kind of opportunity. It's easy for older and low-tech audiences to use. Now, I've got maybe around 150 email addresses on my volunteer list, and only a couple of people have at first had minor difficulties signing up. They haven't had difficulties once they figured it out. And so that's good, at least for me, because I've got, middle-aged and older folks volunteering for me. I love that Sign Up Genius allows people to see what opportunities are available in real time. That cuts down on that emailing back and forth, and it just makes it so much more convenient for people to see what your needs are right then. It will send an automatic email or text message a couple of days beforehand, and this is amazing. This cuts down so much on my email time, and I love this. Participants can easily also edit what they signed up for, and so that's really nice. If you have it set up, they can also easily share that web address with others. So for the food pantry, we want people to share that link so that they can sign up and help out at the food pantry. There are some times that you may not want people to be able to share that link, and there are ways that you can limit that, and I'll show you how in just a few slides. So those are just some of the participant benefits that I've seen with using Sign Up Genius. There is a presentation tomorrow, which I plan on joining, and Caitlin Yoder is going to be presenting about her volunteer program at 10:15 tomorrow, I believe. So you may be interested in hearing more about somebody else's volunteer program. So can you see any ways that you might be able to use Sign Up Genius for wherever you work or work with people? I think it's got a lot of nice applications. And we've also used it for signing up for events. If we wanted people to not have to pay, but indicate if they were coming to the event. So that's been really handy. So let's look at what it looks like if you're the organizer. So for the organizer, you can choose lots of different templates for the sign up. A lot of times I'll use a different page for each month of my volunteer sign up opportunities, and you can customize the look, and they have a lot of free templates you can use. So you can put all the information in there, and then you can change and edit the slots that are available. They're very easy to change those. So here's just a view of some of our signups. So on this one Saturday, I have 4 different things that people could sign up for with different times. I was asking for one person to help at the nature center, and then we have fairy gardens going on at the same time. So we have volunteers who could sign up to help out with the fairy garden workshop. And you can see how many people have signed up and how many more slots you have available if you want to. So you've got, you can have those different time slots. Now there's another tool option that you could use, which is not in Sign Up Genius, it's in Google Forms. And this might be a good fit for you. And I'll tell you about that in just a few minutes. It's Choice Eliminator. It's an add-on with Google Forms. So stay tuned for that, and I'll show you how to use that. So if you had some different slots where you wanted people to sign up for things, you could use Choice Eliminator to reduce the number of opportunities that are available. And so that is that could be handy for you. I don't think Google Forms with the Choice Eliminator would work as well for me with my variety of time slots and opportunities and all those kinds of things that I have available for my volunteers. Here's just a couple other looks. So you can also have different locations on the same day with overlapping time slots. So here we had time opportunities for volunteers to help at the Nature Center, one in the morning, one in the afternoon, and an overlapping session at the Brownsburg Library for our library program. And you can have the locations indicated there. And this was from one of our fall festivals. And for the fall festival, I also include pre-setup on, say, Friday, the day before the event. So you can put in multiple days on the same event sign up. And I was asking for Nature Center help in the morning and the afternoon. And then I had 4 people could sign up for help with pre-setup and then in the morning, and then 4 in the afternoon. And then below I have more information about the actual event signups. If anybody's coordinating volunteers, I recommend including the event sign up and cleanup, setup and cleanup rather. It can't hurt to ask for help. And if you don't ask, you probably won't get help. So it doesn't hurt to ask. So because I included the sign up, you can see I had 2 people help at the Nature Center on the day beforehand, and then 2 people helped with pre-setup on that Friday beforehand. So it really helped. And here's another look from that activity. One of the really nice things about Sign Up Genius is that the web address at the top of the page is the one that you share with your volunteers or whoever you want to see this. You don't have to have any special link, and you can share that directly with them, which is really nice. Then you don't have to remember, is there a special one or not? And how do I find that special link? Google Forms is different, and I'll show you how to do that one in a few minutes. For my events, I sometimes would have overlapping slots. So say I had the greeter scavenger hunt station, and my slots were from 9 to 10, and then 9:30 to 11:30 to allow Lisa to learn from Susan what was going on in the morning. That way she could pick up and take off with the station as soon as Susan left. I have volunteers who want to sign up for multiple stations. So if the first shift is 9 to 10, and the next one that they're signing up for is from 9:30 to 11:30, say, they won't be able to be at 2 places at once. So you might consider not using overlapping time slots. And I have changed that now for my signups because I saw people signing up for lots of different places. So this is another view from that same event. Now, one thing I love about Sign Up Genius, and I love many things about Sign Up Genius, is that you can edit the sign up after you've published it and after people have started signing up for opportunities. So you can reduce the number of people who can sign up for different opportunities. If you want to sort of guide them into signing up for, say, parking. If you don't have very many people signing up for parking, you can reduce the number of slots available for, say, Nature Center or pumpkin painting or whatever it happens to be. You can also change the number of people who, say, you don't need as many parking volunteers in the afternoon. So from 2 to 4, I thought I only needed 2 people. So you can change that on the fly. And that's really helpful as it's getting closer to an event. You can change as you need. So that's really handy. In the settings for your event, after you have all your basic information and your time slots in here, this is where you go in and tell the participants what you need, and then how you can get notified when people sign up. So you have the participants include their name and their email address possibly a phone number. It's easier to contact people if you have their phone number, if you have last minute changes. And then sometimes they'll want to write a comment in there if they're bringing, say, an extra person or something, or they might have some other information they want you to know about. So it's good to include that. You can also enable the names to be visible, or you can hide them. So for the food pantry, I like to keep the names visible. A lot of the food pantry volunteers know each other. So they may want to volunteer on the same day as their friend. It also makes it a little easier for them to switch spots with somebody else. So if you've allowed people to swap slots with each other, and if they see their name, it's a little easier for them to do that. I don't want my volunteer names to be visible on my park volunteer signups, but maybe for certain groups, I would allow that to be visible. So it's nice that you have lots of options. Now, this is one of my favorite settings about Sign Up Genius. You can set it so that they will receive a reminder email or text message 2 or so many days before the activity that they've signed up for. This can save you hours of work that people will show up and help you or come to the event that you've advertised. So this is really nice. Not very many free things will allow you to do this, and some paid registration programs will not allow you to do this automatically. So this is really nice to have this. Here are some ways that you can restrict people seeing your sign up or sharing your sign up if you want to. I've not used these settings yet, but I can see some good ways to use this. If, say, you have people who are certified in archery and you only want them to sign up for those archery activities, you might have a certain sign up for them to use, and you don't want people to share that with other folks who are not approved archery volunteers or other applications possibly. So this can be really handy and could be really useful for you. This is what it looks like when people start signing up. You can see that someone has signed up here. You can also go in here and sign up someone who has called in or has walked into your nature center or wherever you might be. And that way you can easily go in and do that manually if they just showed up. You can also move that person to a different time slot or day or whatever the case might be if they're having a hard time editing their own sign up. And you can also easily delete somebody. I do have one volunteer who doesn't have internet and email, so I use her sister-in-law's email address because a lot of times they'll sign up for the same activity, and a lot of times the sister-in-law will sign both of them up. So I'll use her email address or I'll use mine, and then I'll maybe call her with a reminder. This is what it looks like when you go to print the sign up. This is nice to have a printed copy when you're at an event and you've got volunteers checking in with you. That way you can check them off. It is nice to have their phone number on that piece of paper. So in case you have, an ice storm or something happens, or wind, or you're canceling the event, then you've got their phone numbers right there and you can easily contact them. So that's nice to have all that available there. Sign Up Genius is really nice because there are ways to make reports. So you might want to see how many things your volunteers have signed up for by name. So in this report, I have my April and my July volunteer opportunities listed here. You can see the volunteers' names, and then you can see how many items the volunteer has signed up for. You could use this for recognition for your volunteers at some kind of end of the year picnic or something like that. That's nice to be able to use. Now, I use my Google Calendar to keep track of the volunteers and their hours. There are some programs that have a charge where they will keep track of this for you, but I just decided to do it manually for now until I get a lot more volunteers. So we use lots of different Google calendars here at Hendricks County Parks. And I use different colors. And so my volunteer calendar is in orange. So I'll just set up a whole day event when I have a volunteer signing up, and then I will include the information in that sign up there. I'll include their information, their name. I'll usually put their phone number in there too, what they're doing, what time slot, and if they signed up through Sign Up Genius, that way my staff can go back and remember what they were actually signing up for, or what details I shared with the volunteers. You might want to include the login and password information on here so that your staff can easily go in and look at that and possibly make edits if they need to, if you're not around. So that's how I keep track of that. And then back to Sign Up Genius, here's some nice settings for overall Sign Up Genius with your account. You can enable it to send email reminders or text reminders, and I have not used the text reminders yet. I don't know if all of my volunteers can receive text messages on their phone. Some of them may not have texting capabilities or even want that, but it might be helpful for some of you. This is where you can set your reminders for all of your signups with locking it, or you can have it so that you can change that for each sign up. You may want all signups to receive 2 reminder emails beforehand, or you may not. So that is a little overview about Sign Up Genius as the organizer. So just some positives I've seen, that it can easily save you hours of time with emailing, and it can really increase your participation. It has increased participation by volunteers here at McLeod Nature Park and also at the food pantry where I volunteer. I think it easily increases the participation because it's easy to share that link with lots of people, and it's easy for the people to see what your needs are right then. The free version does have lots of features, so I haven't seen really a need for paying for a different version. You can share the login information with multiple organizers if you need to. If you do have a paid version, then it does make it a little easier to use these signups from one person to the next as the organizers, but we've been able to get around that by just sharing the login information. And there is a free app for mobile access, which is really nice if you're not next to a computer or near a internet. So you can use that as people are walking in or whatever. One negative I've seen with Sign Up Genius that would be really handy to use is if we could close registration a couple of days in advance. That way, I do have volunteers sometimes will sign up for an event 30 minutes before they're showing up, and I haven't prepared a name tag or information for them. So then suddenly there's just somebody who showed up and you didn't realize you were getting another person. So usually that's better than somebody not showing up, but I want to be prepared and welcoming for my volunteers. So can anybody see ways that you would be able to use Sign Up Genius at your location or for other things that you might do in your life? It's been really helpful for me. So hopefully you can see some ways that you can use Sign Up Genius wherever you might be, even in outside of work too. All right, well, I want to show you a couple of things with another free registration method, which is Google Forms. And this is also a free method where people don't have to have a login to sign up. For Google Forms, you just need a free Google account for yourself as the organizer. And to find forms, I just always type in Google Forms in the search bar. Have any of you used Google Forms before by filling out a form or maybe building a form before? So I started using Google Forms after I started offering educator workshops and homeschool field trips. And for my educator workshops, I was getting lots of emails back and forth, and for the homeschool field trips too. And it was hard to keep track of who emailed at what time, and did they take the last spot or did somebody else take the last spot? So it was a lot of emails to try to keep track of. So Google Forms can automate this process for you a bit. And that's one reason I really like Google Forms. So here's a couple of other ways I use Google Forms. We've used it for our exhibitors or vendors for festivals as a way to indicate interest in coming to our event. We don't automatically let people in if they filled out the form. We have to approve them. But this way we can try to get all the information at once and then let them know if they're approved or not. I have a geocaching and letterboxing application, and normally I would use a fillable PDF, but we don't have the Adobe where you can make fillable PDFs. So it's really easy to just make one that's very similar to that on Google Forms instead. We've also used it for school outreach programs and field trip requests. Caitlin Yoder also uses Google Forms for her volunteer program, and she's presenting tomorrow morning about her volunteer program. So I'm planning to tune into that. So for Google Forms, it's really easy to create a form using the template or using just starting from a blank slate. So when you go to create one, this is what it looks like. And down below, it will show you any of the forms you've recently opened or created. And it's very easy to copy and duplicate ones that you've already created, which is really nice, saves you some time. So you can create a form using the template, using a nice little image there. You include all your information there. If you ever want to look at what your form looks like as a participant, you'll click the little eyeball symbol up at the top, and then you can start adding your questions. And they have lots of different types of questions that you can add. You just click the little plus sign there. You can make them required questions with a little red exclamation, red star there. You can do multiple choice or single answer. You can have grid questions, which is really nice. So lots of different options. You can customize your form to ask important questions for your program. This is an example of a homeschool form that we used. We were going to go visit our bee house observation hives, and we wanted to know if some families may not want to see that for whatever reason, maybe severe allergies or extreme fear. And we wanted to find that information out as they registered for the program. It's also a good idea for homeschoolers, I think, and maybe other audiences too, is just kind of put a generic question in your program registration. Is there anything else we should know about your family to ensure that this field trip is enjoyable for everyone? And we've received some good feedback and responses in this question before with, maybe somebody had a physical disability, or maybe they've got asthma or a learning difference, so that will help us tailor the program to them. So it's been very helpful. If you're planning to break your bigger group into smaller groups, you may want to include the option for people to include the name of another family they want to be grouped with. And if anybody wants any other tips on programming for homeschoolers, I'm presenting tomorrow morning about nature programming for homeschoolers, so you might want to check that one out too. In Google Forms, it's really easy to add pictures rather, and YouTube videos. So it's kind of nice to tailor your form to exactly what you're asking people information for, or to show them what they might be able to earn if they come to your program. And I've heard a lot of teachers have used YouTube videos embedded in their forms as a homework assignment, and then you can put all the questions right in there with the video, so the kids don't have to go back and forth from one link to the next. Now, here's the really cool part about Google Forms. There are what are called add-ons or extensions to make Google Forms even more customizable, which is really nice. So with Google Forms, to get the add-on to limit choices or responses, you head over to the right-hand side of your Google Forms. You click the three dots up at the top. You get this drop down here, then you can click on the little puzzle piece, add-ons, and then you get kind of like a Google Play Store where you can add these and I only use free ones. I think there are ones that have a charge. These are the forms or the add-ons I've used. Form Limiter is one I've used many, many times. And then Choice Eliminator 2 is a new one that I just started using. So if you've used any of the add-ons, you can type that in the chat box. So this is an example of how to use the form limiter. And the form limiter allows you to close the form by number of responses or by date. And I wish Sign Up Genius had this closed by date, but it doesn't with the free version. So to click or to get the form limiter to pop up, you click on the puzzle piece, and then you come down here and you can type in the number of responses that you want. You can type in the message once it's full. And I like to add a link to a waitlist form if you think the program is going to be very popular. Now you can close the form manually too with a little toggle switch, so you can do that also. And just as a caution, if you are using this form on lots of different computers, you may want to first set up the form on the computer you plan to use the most, because you can't always edit the number of responses that are allowed on another computer. So say you hoped you would have 10 Project Learning Tree books, but you only have 9, so you go back in and you're trying to change it, you may not be able to change it except on that one computer where you set it up. This is what the waitlist form looked like. I just duplicated the form and then added a little bit of information in there. So that way it makes it a little easier, a lot faster for people to sign up to indicate if they're interested in coming if a spot opens up. So back to Google Forms. For the Choice Eliminator, this is a new one I just learned about. And say you're setting up a school field trip, and you put your dates of your field trip availability in there, and you don't want 10 schools to sign up for the same day. So you can type in your question, then you go up to the puzzle piece at the top, you click the Choice Eliminator, you get this drop or pop-up box, and then you can select the question where you want the eliminator to work on. So teachers can select, the first teacher can come in here and select, say, October 20th, and then the next person to open up the form after they've submitted this one, there will be no October 20th on that form. So that's really nice to have that option on there. And I can't wait to have lots of uses for this add-on for me personally. So back to looking at the responses for your Google form, you can set it so that you get email notifications for new responses. You may or may not want that, but I always get excited when people start signing up for my events. If you copy a form, it won't always keep this setting saved. So make sure you double check this every time you create a form or you've duplicated a form. Whoops. You can have people get a response receipt, and this is nice because then they have kind of a confirmation that they did indeed sign up and successfully sign up for your whatever is on your form. I like to have it so that respondents can edit after they submitted the form. It doesn't always keep these settings saved if you duplicate a form. And then you can also have it so there's a link will show up once they've submitted the form. So I have employers that want to sign their employees up for my educator workshops. So I want to be able to have that form or that link show up after they've already submitted one response. And you can put a little customized confirmation message on there. And then here's the link that you have to use for sharing this form with other people. You cannot share the web link like you can on Sign Up Genius. You have to share this link with your participants. And the link seems to change if you've edited the form. So be careful if you're editing it after you've already shared it. Just a little heads up. It seems to not work as well as I would hope sometimes. When you get your responses, you can view them all in Google Forms. You can look at the summary. You can look at each individual question or each individual person who's responded. You can also download it as a Google Sheets file, and that's what this looks like. You can see out everyone's responses, and then you can easily save it as an Excel file, which is really nice. But if you're still looking at it in Google Forms, you can see that they will graph the responses. So that's really nice. I like that. So for this homeschool field trip here, we had people indicate kind of their approximate grade level of their children. I would caution you on grade level with homeschoolers, maybe ask for ages instead. I'll give you a heads up on that on my next presentation if you come back for that. But this is what it looks like if you've graphed the answers. And it's really nice because then you can use this for grouping your families for your different, maybe rotating groups for your lesson. So that can be really helpful. This is another way the responses can be graphed. For my educator workshops, I like to know if participants have attended other types of educator workshops that might be similar. And it's nice to include that "I'm not sure" option because they might not remember if they attended any of these. And then it's also nice to know kind of approximately their audiences that they teach, so you can tailor your presentation to them. So here's a couple of benefits I see with using Google Forms. There's no login needed for the participant. It's easy to complete and submit the form. You can easily share the form with others. There are some drawbacks. Some IT departments block Google Forms as the participant, and they also block it as the organizer. So Jenna, if you're here, you might want to tell us a little more about that here in a couple of minutes. Using Google Forms as an organizer can save hours of email and easily increase your participation, which is really nice because we all want more people to come to our programs or activities or whatever it might be. Google Forms has lots of features and lots of optional add-ons, and it's easy to create a new or copy forms. You can close the form manually, and you can also close them via add-ons, which is really nice. You can get it Google Forms on your phone. I have not seen an app for Google Forms, but I have it email me every time somebody signs up, and then you can click on that link and it'll take you back to the form. So those are just some things that I have used for increasing my efficiency at work. And I hope some of these have been helpful for you. I would love to hear more about how you might use these with whatever you are happening to do, either home or work or whatever it might happen to be, to make it easier for you to do what you need to do. So let's see, now I can see the comments, the chat. So does anybody have any ways that you could see you would use these different tools here very soon? Let's see here, I'll read through these comments here. All right. I think you can use Sign Up Genius on many different browsers. I just use Chrome. I'm a Google person, but I think you can use both Sign Up Genius and Google Forms on other browsers. If other people have other answers, please chime in. And let's see here. Kristen plans to use this for scheduling staff for various events. Yeah. And I see there's a private message here. Yes, I can send a response to you. So how does everybody plan to use these tools? Do you plan to use these soon, or maybe have ideas of how to use them in the future?
I can see lots of applications. One question that I have you had, as a result of using these, have you had any increase in spam or anything like that? I'm always, particularly for free applications, I'm always really careful about that, particularly when I'm going to be using them with other people.
No, I haven't had problems with, well, I don't know that I've had increased problems with spam. I think when you fill out Sign Up Genius, there's probably a checkbox that you can check if you want to receive information from Sign Up Genius. I know
Mhm.
InventBrite has that and different things. And I'm like, no, I don't want to hear from you.
Yeah,
um,
yeah.
So I think there are ways that you can uncheck that, or if it automatically signs you up, you can always go in and unsubscribe when you get that first email from them.
Right.
But I haven't heard anyone complain about those.
I'm not concerned usually about the application that I'm using. Like I've used Eventbrite a lot, um, and I'm not concerned so much about them because I know if I'm
Okay.
getting stuff from them, I know where it's coming from. I'm more concerned if the company sells the information to other third parties.
Gotcha. Well, I sign up as a participant for my food pantry signups, even though I
Mhm.
made it and I signed up as a participant. I haven't noticed the significant increase in spam. I also sign up through my Google email and that filters it pretty well. So I don't know. Does anybody else had experience with increased spam signing up through any of these?
I have a different question.
Sure.
Thanks, Sarah, for this. I've just started using Google Forms, so I don't know a lot about it, but it was great to hear about the eliminator pieces to that. Those sound really, really helpful. But on your cons for it, you said these sometimes some IT departments won't accept it. Have you worked with any workarounds for that, or do you get a reply back so that you know that they're not getting it, or you know?
No, so I know some, it might not be all DNR departments, but I know some of the state park folks have difficulty sometimes uh, using it as an organizer because their computer will block it. So some people I know have used like their personal phone or personal computer to create the form. Um, I haven't heard that people have a hard time signing up. DNR folks have. I haven't heard that they've had a hard time signing up for my educator workshops, and sometimes they're some of the first within 30 minutes of me sending it out. So they must be getting it through their email, but I think for them to create a form or use Google things, sometimes it's hard for them to do it that way. Sam, did you have any experience with that when you were back in DNR, or maybe that Google's a kind of a newer thing?
No, the biggest issue that I had was that a lot of school corporations would block your emails, and
Oh, okay.
in some cases it might be a couple of weeks before I would ever find out about it.
Oh,
So if it's time sensitive, that's a problem.
were you using a Gmail account to send it?
No, this was when I was working for DNR.
Okay.
Yeah,
I don't
I
know.
guess they didn't trust the state. Gee, imagine.
Leslie, if you want other information on how to use Google Forms or any of the Google products, there's tons of YouTube videos out there, especially set up for teachers on how to use all of these different Google things. And some of it is really specific to teachers, and some might only be available to people with EDU email addresses or Google Classroom, which is restricted to teachers or people who are paying possibly. But I found a lot of them have been very useful for me to just have ideas of how to use Google Forms, because just having an idea of how you might be able to use it is really helpful to see somebody else do it first. So,
Sure. Yeah. Okay. Thanks.
yeah.
Leslie, I'll let you know that I've used Google Forms and Sign Up Genius with Firefox as well. Because it seems to be for Zionsville, that's kind of our go-to. I don't know why. That's just what our IT guy liked. And I haven't run into any issues with them when I've gone to fill out for various things. So
Okay. I just asked that because I work on a Mac, and so I tend to be in Safari most of the time.
Yeah.
But when I recently tried to do Google Meets, it wouldn't work through Safari. I had to do it through Chrome. So I just wondered if anybody had any issues like that. So it's just good to know what it will work in or what it won't work in or any of that.
Yeah.
So thanks. Yeah.
I know it does Firefox and Chrome.
Yeah.
Just start asking around. Who else can use it and what do you use
Right,
it with?
yeah. Send
Yeah.
friends who have different types of browsers and things. Can you use this?
Yeah. Well, I think Huva mentions they say to use Chrome as well, that it's easier through that too. So, but I have used Firefox, so I forgot about that. Thank you.
And I will say, Sam, I believe that you might start seeing, I don't know if all the session leaders will be doing it, but I just did for this one and I'm going to do for the next, is we're probably going to start sharing the actual link to the Zoom in the chat box for on the agenda. So that way, if you're having trouble through Huva, just go straight onto that link and straight into Zoom. So we'll give that as an option, at least for admin. I know I've seen a few emails, so that might be happening in other sessions as well. So
Yeah.
or you can
after
always
the,
just chat and be like, hey, can you send me the straight link? And that
after the welcome, Paul McAfee brought it up and asked, whether we should be able to see each other because we weren't. And apparently several people chimed in and said, yeah, I'm not seeing anyone either. So.
Okay. So, yep. So we
Other
might be
than
just
the speaker.
sharing links through Huva.
Yeah, that'll be good.
So yeah, so just if you run into any issue, just whoever, if it's Stephanie or I think Carla's gonna start doing, just say, hey, can you just put the link in the chat box for us, and then you've got the straight link.
Okay.
Good. Good to
You
know.
know. All right.
Well, if there is no other questions for Sarah, we'll roll this one out a little bit early. Just make sure you check the schedule for the next sessions are going to start at 3:30. We'll hope to see you around. And then, of course, do not forget tonight, our keynote speaker is David Sobel at 7 p.m. And then the always fun talent showcase at 8:30. So, all right. See you guys around.
Okay.
Thanks,
Thanks,
Sarah.
Sarah.